100% fake free. This is the Robbie Kruse show and we're live from my garage. And famous people are going to sit right there. Nice. 90% of all single-use plastic goes to landfill or ends up in our oceans. Unsmother nature. Let her breathe. We're good, we're speed, we're episode 9 of the Robbie Kruse show. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for watching the last episode or the last 8 episodes. We're on episode 9. If you want to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button just down here and then also that little bell sign. I don't know what it means. Apparently you get notifications and then you can go and watch. You want a notification about this here show because we've got one of my favorite human beings in the whole entire world and also a lot of other people who didn't even know it's favorite angel. Dianne Broodryk, welcome to my garage.
Oh wow, what an intro. Thank you so much, Robbie. Yes, see, I'm so glad to be here. Everything's very pro.
No, thank you very much.
Congratulations with what you've been doing. I am so impressed.
I appreciate it. It's really good having you here, Di. I mean, when I've just got to take it back and tell you the story from when I met Di the first time. I walked into this meeting at Jacaranda where she still works, Jacaranda FM, the radio station. And I sat down and I was young, I was like 21 years old and I'm sitting there and there's all these big radio names
from
and whatnot.
Tux.
Yeah, from Tux, from a campus radio station. And there I am, and the first person that made me feel welcome, that came to me and said, come on, let's go have a chat, was Dianne Broodryk. So Di, I must say from day one, you've been an inspiration, you've been a great friend, so it's really great to have you here. But how's it been the last while? How's everything?
Well, you know, we carry on. Carrying on like we always do. I must say, I don't have any complaints. I can't complain.
You never complain though.
I try not to. I don't complain to you. I complain at home.
That's what Dianne, her husband, has to hear at home. It's,
yes.
the soundboard.
So, you know, it's Good Morning Angels is doing so well. Jacaranda FM is doing well. We had our 35th
birthday. Happy birthday, yeah.
Thank you very much. So, in terms of work and being able to do the work, I really don't have any complaints.
And radio these days, still enjoying it, still loving it?
Yes, I've had such a long road in radio. I've actually been down memory lane and very nostalgic when we put together some video and some stuff for the 35th birthday. And I have been with Jacaranda for 22 years now.
It's amazing.
It sounds so wrong to say it, you know. I don't feel like a veteran, but that's like veteran territory.
Status,
and, you know, and as you say, you walk into a place and you're new and you're green and, you know, you don't know what to expect, just like you did on your first day. And then before you know it, it's been 10 years, it's been 15 years, now it's been 22 years. And the road takes you into different facets of radio. And at the moment, I'm in a space where I'm not on air anymore. I'm not on a show anymore, but I still get to produce the content and to work with the people. For me, it's always been about the stories and storytelling and the people. And I still get to do that. I get to do that more now than ever before. So it's a different space than when we worked together for me. But this is where I want to be.
That's amazing, and it's good, and it's always just fun to be able to create something and to be able to create the content that you're doing. But let's take it back. Where did you grow up? Where did I mean, not a lot of people know this, but we Saladamse eende these two. Yeah,
absolutely, and die moord. So die moord is groot. Pretoria. I was born in the Marymount in Pretoria, in the shadow of Loftus. And that's where I grew up. Went away, made a few turns, you know, lived in Joburg for a while, lived in Polokwane for a while, but always came back home. And for the past 20 years or so, I've been a Centurionite. So in between Joburg and Pretoria, but I'm still a Pretoria.
Yeah, it still counts as Pretoria. It still counts as
So.
Pretoria. Especially if you're explaining to somebody that's not from here, it's Pretoria. Centurion's Pretoria. But Di, when you were growing up, was it always... And I'm going to get to that now, but you are a family-orientated person. You really are. I had the pleasure of growing up, or not growing up with her daughter, but watching her daughter grow up from pre-primary school through to she's now first year varsity.
I know,
I mean, that's ridiculous. But has it always been a family thing for you? Has that always been important to you?
I have the most incredible family. We are tight. We are one another's support. We are one another's criticism. We love one another. We are that family that still eats together on a Sunday.
Oh, wow.
So that's the environment that I grew up in. And I always say if there was an Olympic medal for parenting, my parents would be the gold medal winners every year, every 4 years.
Oh, that's amazing. And it is important. Do you instill that in Robin, your daughter, as well? Is that something that you...
Look, I could never get her to grow up in the way that she did on my own. I have a husband, I have my family around me, and the people around our family have such a great impact on her, on me, and that's the kind of people I wanted her to grow up with. So my siblings, my sister, my brother, we all live like 5 minutes from one another.
Oh, that's great.
And so, and my parents just down the road, still in the Moot. The rest of us are in Centurion. So the Nolstring it's like 30 minutes long. That's it.
But it takes, and you got to pick that village.
Yes.
You got to make sure that you set that village up for your child to grow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so she's grown up in a family, not just in a household with her boring mom and boring dad. You know,
but which they are not. They are rock stars. They really are. So, and you guys have always, I mean, you've included your daughter in everything you do. I mean, in the music that you guys listen to, in what you guys appreciate, and I mean, it shows. It really shows that she's an incredible woman.
Yeah, she's listen. Now that they're first year, everything's online. So. From last year, her matric year, up until now, we've spent so much time together. Like the kind of time that you can't buy. Money can't buy this. So if there was a silver lining around lockdown and Corona and COVID and all the bad things, for me, it's the precious time that I get to spend with my daughter.
And it was.
And, you know, it's just something that I cherish now. And I think when she's a little bit older, she'll cherish more. But I can see now it's been too long, you know, being locked up at home. It feels like being locked up, doing online classes, not being on campus, not experiencing tucks the way that you should.
You know, the way that you should,
yes,
varsity life.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I can see now that she needs to get out a little bit more. So I'm really hoping that they can now take the grendels off and then let the kids just have some varsity time.
But it was, Dianne, not to interrupt you, but it was really what you made of it, lockdown and that time. I mean, I have a daughter that's 2.5 years old now, and it was watching. I know, but watching her from she's 17 months until, which was almost the end of lockdown, which we're still not really in. But she's over 2 years old now, 2.5 years old, and that's stuff that I can never buy back again. I got to see that every single day. Yeah. You're the person that also sees silver linings in things, and that's why you do what you do. Good Morning Angels. Take me through that journey. Take me through where it all started and to where we are now. This is something that you have to go and Google if you don't know about it. I used to cry every single Wednesday morning on radio just listening to this. Like,
well, Good Morning Angels is just one of those things that I didn't choose. I believe it chose me. So you know radio and you know how it works. So the new breakfast show started in July of 2005. And I did news on that breakfast show. The new host came from Cape Town, and you know there was then there was this feature, you know, that's what we call it more in radio.
The radio feature, yes.
On a Wednesday morning that had just started a few months before in the previous breakfast show, right? So now, and this is, you know, people writing in on behalf of somebody who needs assistance of some sort, and then finding assistance for that person. So basically, as a radio station, which I take my hat off to Jacaranda FM for doing, is to recognize not just the opportunity, but also the responsibility of the platform. We have this platform, people listen to us. So if you've got an issue, we put you on the radio, somebody's going to be out there who will be able to assist you. And this community of just people being kind to one another, of generosity, of people really being angels to one another, has just grown from strength to strength. And it's been on your radio, on Jacaranda FM, on a Wednesday morning for 16 years.
It's ridiculous.
16 years, Robbie.
Yeah. And that power of, when you say the power of radio, that's exactly what that is a listener, literally. I mean, we were part of a golf day once where I don't know how much we needed. We needed, let's say, 1 million, and we got way more than what we needed. I mean, just from people going, I'm listening. And I remember even once a caller called in, and I think it was 600,000 Rand that we were short. He didn't want anybody to know who he was. He didn't want any mention on air. And I get goosebumps. I really, you can zoom in. I literally get goosebumps every time I talk about this, because that is the power of the medium, and taking something like that and doing something positive with it.
And the thing is, Robbie, that dad, because he was a dad, and like you said, he didn't want anybody to know his name, and he just said, I have 2 daughters, and the person that we were raising funds for needed a liver transplant, and she was 600,000 short of paying for everything, and she basically kind of did this fundraising as a schoolgirl herself. Imagine that. And he said, as a dad, this is nothing. And moments like that, it's not things that you can forget. It changes you, you know. It's all about those little moments, and I have been very privileged and fortunate to have those moments regularly in my life. And I think, you know, people say, oh, but isn't it difficult? You know, everybody writes in, and it is difficult.
It is, because you've got to make that. I mean, you've got to make that choice of who gets help.
People write to angels@jacarandafm.com, I think it was Oprah who said that all pain is the same. So it doesn't matter what your situation is and what your need is, for you and your family and the people around you, that is the only thing that counts. And so many people, through lockdown, I kid you not, there were times that I received 1,000 requests a day, Robbie. So, and these were just people all in panic, suddenly not knowing where tomorrow's food is coming from. Yes. Wow. So as the circumstances in our country change, the needs change, but the need is always more than any of us can really bear. And then people say, oh, but isn't it depressing? Yes, you know, going through all of that. Yeah, and how does that feel? That's a question that I have for you. How do you cope with all of that? I would love to, I would say I would love to, and we've done a lot of things together and a lot of work together, and things that have come off where I've been in tears from the moment that the person requested something right through until they actually receive a leg, or they receive this, or they receive that. How do you do it? Well, I think it was about a year into, you know, getting to be involved with Good Morning Angels, and then becoming more responsible for, because initially it was just, you know, you got a sheet, there's a name and a number, and, you know, this is the person who needs, this is the person who gives, and to put the two in contact with one another on air. Then it became my responsibility to start sourcing the assistance and going through those requests, and then there was a point, and I remember it was one day when I picked Robin up from pre-primary school, and by die Popeyes pre-primair, there's a you remember it like it's yesterday. Yes, she also doesn't forget. She also doesn't forget. Yeah. So there's they had this notice board with an inspirational quote every week and little announcements for it's a very little school, small school. And this particular day, I was struggling with that, and it just felt the more you do, the more there is to do. What can we do? How can this be? And I drove up, and on the notice board, it just said, if as one person you can't change the world of one person. Oh, no, I'm also, look at me, I'm the same. I mean, it sounds so corny, but in that instant, in that moment, in that space in my life, that was exactly the message that I needed. And suddenly everything made sense. Let's help those we can. Yeah. And that's it. And to be able to help and to do something, they say doing something for others is also the greatest thing that you can do. But I mean, your road to heaven, or wherever you choose to go, is paved in golden little cobblestones with little Swarovski crystals around and everything. And really, thanks for what you've done. Like I don't think that gets said often enough. But I'm Not Plastic is something that you are. We filter all our guests. We filter everybody that comes onto the show through. And they have to be not plastic. And Di, you are really one of the most I'm Not Plastic people in the world. But when you look at that, what does that mean to you? What does I'm Not Plastic mean to you? I'm Not Plastic means to me that in the first instance, I like the human nature at the bottom. Bringing that together, yes. Because that has meaning to me. each and every one of us has it in us to be authentic. There's only one like you. That's one of my favorite Dr. Seuss quotes. It's on my wall at in the office. It's today you are you. There is no one more you than you. Something like this. Today you are you. This is true.
And nobody
There's
said it
no
better
one,
than Dr. Seuss. Nobody. Yeah.
No one who's you than you. And that is I'm not plastic. And you don't have to be like the next person. You must just be your authentic self and do what you can to be your best self. Because when you do that, how can you not have a positive influence on the people and the world around you?
That's very true.
Be authentic. Be yourself. Don't copy anybody else.
And you've always done that. I know that, meeting your husband for the first time, I met him and I'm like, long hair, rock star, likes good music. What do you, who is the die when she lets her hair down? When she goes, is it a Metallica concert? Is it what is it?
Well, we've been to all of those. Yes.
Big rocker, yeah.
It's like, obviously, rock and roll. It's like the music and the message. I don't know what it is about rock music that it's freeing. I think it was a time in history when people needed to free their minds and just realize that anything is possible if you put your mind to it. History has a way of pushing us into certain directions and things. And at that point, when rock was born, it was necessary.
We needed that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and we still enjoy the music. It's just like Robin would say. So we'll play her something, and then she'll say afterwards, does this person still live?
Yeah.
Are they still alive?
Well, that's the question.
Oh yes, yeah. And then we would, YouTube, and this is what they used to look like.
This is what they look like now.
What
he was cool at a stage.
Exactly.
That one was cool. Yeah.
It's the music. It's the tea in the morning. It's sitting on the stoop and just being together. And just sharing one another's lives. Dianne and Robin are besties.
But they are super interesting people. Let me tell you, like when you get home, it's a show. It's a show, basically.
So now she starts bringing like grown-up people, because her friends are now like grown-up people. She brings grown-up people home, and we don't realize the way we live. It's just the way we live. And then somebody would ask, so why is there a 3D printer on your dining room table? Oh, Dianne's busy building it.
Okay.
Other people have flowers. We have
bouquets and fruit and whatnot.
We have a soldering iron and a 3D printer and bits and bobs. And then I said, you must please clean up. Just at some point clean up.
Yeah.
And then, yes, he will. He just wants to finish this. And it never happens. So if you walk into my house and you see weird things standing around in weird places, if you're not okay with it, then you don't have to visit.
You can also leave.
Yeah,
you don't have to be
You don't
there.
have to visit. It's just the way that we live.
And that brings it back to the authenticity. That's what you said about that. It's just be real. This is what you see is what you get. Now, we do a little feature and we've still got time, so it's good. What did you bring along for show and tell?
For show and tell, I thought about this and I didn't have to think too long.
Okay.
So a while ago, just like a week before Robin was born, we were robbed in our home, tied up, the whole spiel. And again, looking for silver linings. The silver lining that I got out of that is it put my life into perspective for me. What is really important? Things are not important. The people you love are important, and the moments. It's all about the moments. And then, so I thought, okay, because, they stole everything like jewelry and, all those things. What would people who walk into your house not want to steal? And I realized books. People are not going to steal your books. So I started collecting books, and I like them to be autographed by the author. So that's my little thing, is collecting autographed books. So that's what I brought.
And I actually remember, because of all the guests we used to have in studio, and to me, I must have made it a bigger thing, but from Peter de Villiers, Victor Matfield, Shapiro, you name it, like books galore, and you've had them all signed.
Well, I still have Victor Matfield's book's manuscript that he signed for me.
This
things
is
like
Dianne
that.
Broodryk,
Nobody
the OG, but it is.
Nobody else cares about those things, but it's something that's
your
special
gift,
to us. and to mother. And I, now that my daughter's old enough to understand the history, to understand the significance of things, now I share it with her. I mean, she had history in school. I told her about the things, and then I was there when these things happened because I was a journalist and in the 94 elections. So I can tell her, no, this isn't how it worked. This is how it worked.
First hand, this is how it happened.
Yes, because we wrote that first draft of history. That's what they say. Journalism is the first draft of history. That's the history that I was privileged enough to be the first draft of. So, and now people are learning this in school. So this.
Look at this. Look at that.
Yeah. So this is one of my most prized possessions. I said one. This is the second most prized possession.
Okay.
Because this was the 46664 concert when 46664 was launched.
That's right, yes.
Through the Nelson Mandela Foundation and as a fighter for the rights of HIV/AIDS sufferers. And saying that HIV/AIDS is not a health issue, it's a political issue. And the powers that be need to shape up.
That's nice.
And look where we are today. I think we've made massive stride. AIDS is still there, but you don't hear about it as much anymore because things changed and people are getting the treatment that they should. So, Mr. Mandela signed it for
No, wow. I didn't think it could get worse than that, eh?
So, just because he wrote my name, and I forgive him for making one N and not two.
It's okay.
But
I would never have spelled that wrong, but that's God rest his soul. Oh,
yes.
Look at that, signed by Mandela himself.
Yes.
That is an incredible. I remember also, actually, funny enough, we did a show together, and I got a tattoo of him on my back during one of his birthdays. It was. But you're also good friends with Zelda Lafranci, who's, Nelson Mandela's right-hand woman for many years, like family. And it's these incredible people that I see in my life, and Nelson Mandela being one of them, but you being another one. I mean, like you don't get the chance to meet as many great people as what I have in the form of yourself, Zelda, Mandela, and people that I have met in my life and the work that you do. So I just want to say from my side, like, it's so amazing. It really is. It's you've got another thing there. Tell me.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
So speaking of Zelda,
okay.
so when I got this book, we weren't friends yet. This signed copy, and then we became friends through Bikers for Mandela Day.
That's right. You worked a lot together. Yes, with a trip every year.
Yes. And then, we became very good friends. And then for my birthday one year, and this was when Madiba was still alive, she brought me this as a gift. And look at the signature. It was just
shaking.
It was just before he
gosh. Look at that, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela.
This was just before.
And that reminds me, that's how my granny wrote towards the end as well.
And you can see from the first signature to this one where he was in his life. So that is my most treasured earthly possession.
And like you say, I mean, no one's going to walk in and steal it because it's not going to be on their list.
Exactly.
But it's a weird story that you told there, and the fact that it shouldn't happen to anyone, and you said that whole spiel of it happening. I mean, it's bad that it's something in our heads like that, but this is something that someone's not going to take from you.
And the reason why this is so important to me is, for me personally, is when I started out as a journalist. I was such a green little junior in the build-up to the 94 elections, right? So it was the year before. I went to cover some other news event with the ANC, and Madiba was there, and he was sitting on. It was at the showgrounds in Pretoria, and he was sitting on a little stage that they had for all the speakers, and there was a praise singer, doing all of that, and here I am. Sitting, studying Nelson Mandela's face, because when we grew up, this was not somebody that we knew what he looked like, because photos of Mandela were against
few and far between. It would never,
you wouldn't
have it.
You were not allowed to have a picture of Nelson Mandela, and what happened subsequently and so on, and now we on this path to our first democratic elections, and there was a lot of, I come from the Moed, people were worried.
I was worried. Nobody knew.
Nobody knew what's going to happen. It was change all over and so on. And here's this man that I was brought up to be afraid of, right?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, it's almost like there's Nelson Mandela and just next to him is the devil. You know, it's like...
It's the enemy.
It's the enemy.
That's how you were grown up. That's how you were brought up, yeah.
Yes. And here he sits with that kind face, and just the way that he sat, he was sitting with his hands on his lap like this, looking down like this, listening to what the people were saying, because he's a very good listener. Sat there listening, and there I was like 5 meters away, looking at him, and I think he possibly felt me staring at him because exactly.
I mean, I've always been in awe of
just
that
like
man.
that,
Yeah.
looking at him, and as he sat like this, he just looked up, right straight into my face, in my eyes, and all he did was he lifted his hand and he just waved at me like this. Moments, I'm telling you, Robbie, moments.
Yeah.
And from that day, I was his biggest fan, because he made me feel so special. And for me, he still is the icon of what a human being should be.
Absolutely.
And I aspire to follow his lead. There will never be another Nelson Mandela, but you can take what he taught us and he left us and make it your own. If you're not plastic, be your authentic self. And that's why these are so important to me.
Well, can I just say, from Nelson Mandela's biggest fan to Nelson Mandela's biggest fan's fan. No, I'm your biggest fan, either way.
Thank you, Robbie.
Di, thank you very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. We've still got a long road to walk, me and you.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're still going to change the future in some way. You're the least plastic human being I know, you really are. And I'm wealthier for knowing you. I really am. And thanks for coming on the show.
And I really appreciate you so much. And I don't know if you noticed, but I'm wearing the ring you gave me
my
for
word.
my birthday one year.
Oh my word. I went and picked that with my mom for Di, and I said, she will love this. She will love
just to show you, I cherish it, and you so incredibly special, not just to me, to a lot of other people, and I know your future is brighter than bright.
Oh, I've got good sunglasses because I've got people like you in my life. That's why. That's the end of episode 9. Before I start crying, before we start getting too emotional, but she's a great person. Go follow her on social media, Dianne Broodryk. Not just the amazing work that they do on VIA and on Jacaranda FM, just as a human. If you ever get the chance to meet this woman, you'll be richer for it. Thanks for watching.
I'm Dianne Broodryk, and I'm not plastic.
Well, we're on episode 8, would you believe? I'm Not Plastic segment for today. I'd love to welcome onto the Robbie Kruse show a person that is definitely not plastic. She spent some time in Germany, but is a South African, has been living here for the longest time, which is fantastic. Sabine, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. This is great.
So you're from Urban Sleeves. Tell me a little bit more about the company before we even get you.
Yes, Urban Sleeves. It's a relatively new and very small company, which started off with natural materials, designing products which are functional, but with natural materials, sustainable, biodegradable. And it's kind of evolved recently into a bit more where we use recycled materials. And this is made out of actually plastic water bottles.
You lie.
So
that's proper.
Basically what happens is our informal collectors, trash collectors,
Yes.
you know,
Waste
they go,
pickers,
yeah, exactly. And communities as well, you know, there's lots of communities, so that the water bottles don't end up in landfills or the ocean. They collect it, it goes to a company, it gets cleaned, the labels get taken off, the little caps get taken off, and then it gets recycled in little pellets which get melted down. And now you can make new water bottles, or you can make a material. And for example, this handbag is actually 4.5 water bottles. And you can make
and it's
materials.
Fashionable.
It's
fashionable.
fashionable,
You
exactly.
You'd buy this if it wasn't an expensive boutique.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. And basically what we want to say is that, you know, it's fashion that you can feel good about. It's not fast fashion, it's functional, you can use it, you can reuse it, recycle it again. So what we want to bring across as well and make aware is that fashion can be chic, and even recycled fashion can be chic. It's not something which has no quality or so. It's quality, it's functional, and it's chic.
I think a lot of people, when they also think recycled, materials or clothing, or they think, oh, it must be this, it must be like a brown shirt or this or that, and it's not great quality. Exactly. And that's not like that anymore.
It's not like that anymore. And I mean, there's big brands out in the world which create amazing products from recycled plastics from the ocean and so on, So that's what we want to bring across, to make people more aware of it. And also, what do you do with your plastic bottles, your water bottles?
True that. You don't want it to go to the ocean. You don't want it to go there. So rather make something.
Make something really beautiful, which you can actually use, and it's functional. And also, it speaks about the person.
Sabine, where would we find you on social media if we want to follow your journey and what you guys are busy with and your products?
We are on Instagram, so at Urban Sleeves, and we're on Facebook. We have a website. And that's basically, it's a relatively new company, so we started that basically in the lockdown.
Oh, but amazing. I mean, you've got to come up with something, It's, we hustle.
Exactly, yes, yeah. So that's where we are available on. Also what we do is, if it's a corporate company or events, we can then print the logo of the company onto the product. And, there's laptop sleeves, there's notebooks, there's pouches, there's a whole lot of products. And we're busy with more. Shopper bags, all sorts of things.
And that's going to be a thing as well. That's going to be a massive thing because of the fact that plastic bags are going to completely be gone.
Completely out. And I was recently at the organic market in Cape Town, and I was watching people, how they shop for their organic products, and the shopper bags will be perfect for that as well. Yes. Yeah.
So also go check them out, Urban Sleeves. They're on Instagram. They got a website as well. Go and support local. So go and buy these if you're buying something chic for a girlfriend or a boyfriend, doesn't matter what you're into. Please go and check them out, Urban Sleeves. Sabine, thank you very much for coming onto the show. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's great. Okay.
Lovely.